Hi there everybody, Ewan Spence here, and it's day 7 of the All About Symbian video diary of myself, the United States of America, and the Nokia 5800. Today I wanted to revisit, and also mute my PC, I wanted to revisit the idea of media images, and specifically video that are happening on the 5800 as well. You may recall that back, I think in diary 3 or 4, I think it was diary 4, I talked about how useful the 5800 was round the conference halls of South by Southwest, specifically for taking those really quick, instantaneous snapshots and getting them up onto the internet either through OV, Flickr or TwitPic. That's great, because when you're in the moment, having a camera, no matter what it's like, is better than having no camera at all. But when you start looking at the 5800's image quality, you start to realise that it is not as good as some of the devices like the N86 or the N95, and performs incredibly poorly in bad light. Now that's not a problem if you're outside in the sun of San Francisco or Austin, but probably will be slightly more of a challenge when I get back home to Edinburgh. It's also an extreme challenge indoors as well. South by Southwest has me indoors for bands a lot of the time. We've taken a little bit of video and image of a band actually called the Debrettes, who are based out of London. Very aggressive punk band, very well worth following up as well. And well, have a look at these. First of all, let's have a look at the images. First from the 5800, and now from the Nokia N95. Now these were using the automatic settings. We have similar shots available on night as well, but they provide exactly the same sort of difference in terms of quality. The 5800's lens is incredibly small, as you can see there. It doesn't allow a lot of light to come into the lens, so no matter what setting you use, there are less photons to work with. Steve's Cameras articles will go into a lot more depth on this, but in short, the 5800 in low light and also in terms of fast moving action does not cope very well. Let's have a little look at those video clips now, again using the automatic settings. Here's the 5800, and here's the Nokia N95, and you can see again the immediate difference there in the quality that we're getting up. Now, as I said, don't get me wrong, having a camera is better than having no camera at all, and the pictures that we have coming off the 5800 are usable in a personal context. And you know, if you are stuck, for example, under the ground when there's the London bombings in 7/7, the camera pictures that came out there were quite grainy, were quite poor, but they were very newsworthy because there was at least a picture. And certainly other devices have managed to have great success even though the camera might not be the best camera in the world. I'm looking at this, and planes landing on the Hudson River. But in essence, the 5800 is a budget phone. It's under £200, SIM-free, for a touchscreen device, which has so much power. So there are obviously going to be some corners cut, and the camera lens and the CMOS sensor is one of them. So be aware, this is not going to be your David Bailey of pictures. This is going to be more your David Brent of pictures. But it's usable. Don't get me wrong, but I am using the N95 for most of my photography while I'm out and about just now, and of course through video as well. But what I did want also to touch on here is the interface that we have in the camera. I really like this. This is probably one of the applications that makes the most change out of touch. So it's very easy to launch the camera application, as with most S6 applications. You just simply press the camera button, and you have your camera application come up. You have your grid lens finder, which allows you to hold down. Not only does it do red and green now in terms of focus and accuracy. You can see there we've got green. Yeah, we did have green. I guessed there. We also have yellow as well, which means I reckon it's going to be okay, but probably not quite. And that's very good visual feedback. You also, of course, have your indications for battery charge and how big the picture is and what size left. But what's interesting is because you have the 16:9 screen, you have much more information that's available at the side. You have the your options in your camera and a toggle for the flash, which I suspect is going to be the option that most people will go for. But when you press those three lines, in the same way, you get a grid of icons coming up the screen, and these are just simply tap controls. So scene mode, video, show grid, self timer, color tone, and very simply tap once through here and you get taken, and you then actually get taken back to regular S60 dialogue, which, you know, it immediately pulls you out in the morning. I'm wondering why they couldn't have kept the same sort of icons. You're mixing this new camera interface with a new grid interface of icons, and then you're going back to the original S60 interface. It just seems slightly screwy, for want of a better word, to have three different styles of interface. There isn't that constant flow through of information that looks exactly the same, that puts things in the same place, that you really need in a mobile UI. It makes the camera feel more complicated than it actually should. I mean, white balance, exposure, light sensitivity, they're things that you'd set very rarely. Most people will stay with the automatic settings. But when you start going into things like the ability to alter the white balance, I mean, if you look at white balance there, it has a sample, which you don't have in others, then the names and the icons, and then the buttons at the side. There's just this hodgepodge of mix, and I really think that needs a bit more work to make it seamless and consistent, both in the camera application and through the rest of the device. Right then, here in San Francisco, it is GDC. I haven't gone out to GDC. It's almost as noisy as South by Southwest. I'd rather give you a view of some plants and light shades. Your comments, very much welcome and carrying on. We're glad you're enjoying the shows. There's only 2 of these left after this one. So if you have any big burning questions you want to ask about the 5800, do let me know. Comments are best left at the end of the post here. But for now, from the Castro Street or No Valley in San Francisco, just down from the metro line to take me into Market District in Union Square, this is Ewan Spence for All About Symbian, saying goodbye for now.